A ruling now has determined that white supremacist gangs inside of prisons can be protected under religious dogma. It's a damn shame. Put it up, full mass. Let me show you the new argument that has been somewhat successful. Michigan courts recognize now Christian identity as an official religion in the Michigan state prison system. Let me give you background on the Michigan state and federal court decision. Michigan federal court has decided that Christian identity can now be recognized as an official religion in Michigan state prisons. After lawyers for 2 inmates successfully argued that their clients' religious beliefs should be welcomed like other faith philosophies. The decision, which was rendered on June 26, 2023, now allows for the Christian Identity, which is a white supremacist organization, to be a legitimate religion. There's more. The 2 inmates argued that prison officials would not allow them to worship or conduct Bible study by themselves or have special dietary options that align with the Christian identity. Quote, if something is deemed a legitimate religion entity, then any action taken by the government against the religion must survive what we call a strict scrutiny analysis, said attorney Sarissa K. Montage. The plaintiff's lawyer said, and I quote, her client's access to religious freedoms were restricted by the government because it did not believe in the tenets of faith. The lawyer for the plaintiff added that they basically said they find this religion to be very dangerous, and they did not present any options for allowing that religion to conduct its services. They simply said, you can't do anything, and the courts found that you can't do that, adding that you have to prove or give reasons for why the actions should not be permitted. Let's talk about federal courts and advancing hateful theology. According to the Southern Poverty Law Center, Christian identity is an anti-Semitic, racist theology that rose to a position of commanding influence on the racist right in the 1980s. Christian in name only, it asserts that white people, not Jewish people, are the true Israelites favored by God in the Bible. The judges noted that while Christian identity is viewed as explicitly racist, all right, no ambiguity about that, touting that only Caucasian people are God's chosen people is an actual religion. The Justice Department uses criteria to determine a religion called the Religious Land Use and Institutionalized Persons Act of 2000. The judges said that the plaintiffs satisfied the first 2 parts of the 3-part test. Let me give you the concerns. The concern was that their extremely racist ideologies would exclude others and validate violence in the name of their faith. The lawyers for the plaintiff said that their clients would allow people of all races and backgrounds to attend their worship services. Wink, wink. Those things that they were able to prove to constitute Christian identity as a religion were able to trump its connection to white supremacist groups outside the prison setting that alone cannot fulfill the least restrictive means analysis. But the ruling, MDOC, can still seek an appeal and take it to the Supreme Court. If the highest court in the country does not hear the decision will become state law. All right, let's count the ways here, because I'm familiar with this particular analysis. Once again, not a bright line rule. It's basically a way to examine if something is actually a faith or religion, all right? They have rules. This particular group, they have rules, call them tenets. They have these codes of conduct. You know who else has rules? GDs, Gangster Disciples, Crips, Vice Lords, Kairu Blood. Do you think they can successfully make an argument to a judge or a panel of judges that their meetings, their literature talks, their groupings should be deemed a religious freedom? Hell no. Only in this context can a white supremacist prison gang be deemed religiously protected. Only in this context. It may go to the Supreme Court, but remember the Supreme Court can simply ignore even if the appeal is filed. The Supreme Court of the United States is the ultimate court of appeals. If the state has the wherewithal, they will file the appeal, take it to the Supreme Court. But keep in mind, we're dealing with the Supreme Court that just gutted affirmative action, that took away the rights of women. This Supreme Court may very well rule that white supremacists are allowed to be considered a religion inside of prisons. Sharon, thoughts here?
It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. And it made me say, okay, well, it's settled. Even in federal prison, white privilege reigns supreme, even when they're really white supremacists. And my question is, can Suge Knight go? They said anybody's allowed to go. Can we make sure Suge's in there too and some of his boys?